What's up, gymmers? All right, so let's get the last part of this cerebellar activation via the vestibulospinal tracts, all right? So as we learned from NeuroNerd, like the cerebellum is in the base of your skull, and it's directly coordinated with neck movements, head movements, eye movements. It's coordinated with spinal posture and gait. It's also coordinated with the extensor muscles of your limbs, which is going to be anything that moves your arm back like this, so your blades, and anything that actually pushes your hips forward, which is going to be your glutes or your booty. Now, if you're a gymmer who is using a wheelie walker a lot, a wheelchair, or you just feel like you need to sit down a lot of times those glutes can get inactive because these hip flexors get super duper short and they can't actually find the right position to fire correctly. So there's an exercise that we use to rebalance the pelvis, and that is called the pelvic tilt, okay? And the pelvic tilt, what I want you to imagine is that your hips right now are a bucket of water, okay? And it's full to the brim of water. Now, an anterior pelvic tilt, and I'm going to wrap this around me so you can see what my body does. So an anterior pelvic tilt is when we tip our pelvis forward, okay? So if I hold on to this band right here, and it's like I'm holding a belt buckle, okay? An anterior pelvic tilt is tipping the water out the front. So I tip my pelvis forward, and you can see my hand goes down. Upper body doesn't do anything, but pelvis tips forward, okay? My low back arches a little bit and back to center. Arches a little bit and back to center. So I'm tipping my hips forward. So I'm looking at my anterior superior iliac spine, and that's an anterior motion for that bony landmark, okay? So a posterior pelvic tilt is the opposite direction. So that way we go back. So we go forward into an anterior, back into a posterior. So we're tipping water out the backside of the bucket. Notice my upper body does not move. So as I go forward, I'm not doing this. As I go back, I'm not doing this. I'm keeping my chest up to my head very still, and I'm just tipping forward, tipping back, tipping forward, tipping back. Okay? Now the key to this exercise to make it work well is to keep your blades pulled down, which will keep your upper body stable, and to keep your abs or your guts gently pulled in the whole time so you have abdominal control while your pelvis is moving. That is going to actually tie your cerebellum and your vestibulospinal tracts into this motion and teach your brain that when your pelvis moves, your spine stabilizes, which is going to help you with your balance and standing upright, okay? So we're going to imagine we have a belt on here, okay? And if you want to put your hand on your pelvis like you got a belt buckle, like you're like Michael Jackson, just like hee-hee, hoo-hoo, hee-hee, do it, okay? So that's what we're going to hit. So we're going to go up tall. We're going to go a full anterior tilt and a full posterior tilt. So feet are this way, okay? So right below you, gut slightly pulled in, so pull your belly button slightly in. Blades are down, okay? So I want you to inhale as you go forward, exhale as you go back. So, okay, ready? And sit tall, push up through the top of your head like we learned in tall spine. Inhale, tip the pelvis forward, slight arch in your low back, pause. Now, exhale and tip the pelvis back. Okay. Inhale, tip forward. Abs are in. Exhale, tip back. And it's a very little motion. It's not gigantic, okay? Watch my hand. Inhale, tip forward. Okay. Exhale, tip back. Inhale, tip forward. Abs in. Exhale, tip back. Blow out. Inhale, tip forward. Exhale, tip back. Good. So that's 5 times. So literally, as you're sitting around watching TV on your computer, 5 times forward and back every couple hours, and you're going to have a lot better pelvic function and low back stuff, okay? So that's how you do it seated. Let's talk about how to do it when we're up on our feet. All right, you guys, so now we're up on our feet, and we are going to go over pelvic tilting in standing. So it's the exact same form as seated, but now you're standing, all right? Totally different neurologic event, more demand on your cerebellum, more demand on your brain, your spinal cord, all your stuff, and so it's just going to be a more advanced exercise. Now, there's a couple ways to do this. If you can get up and you feel stable just standing in your wheelie walker, okay, then use your wheelie walker, but here's the only thing. If you cannot stand with your hips underneath your shoulders, see, shoulder and hip are aligned, and you're still like this, this isn't going to work. You cannot pelvic tilt if you're leaning like this. All right. So I would definitely practice pelvic tilting seated in a chair or a wheelie walker first. Once you get better at that and you can actually get into this neutral position where your hips and your shoulders are aligned, then you can work on pelvic tilting. Don't rush the process. Your brain needs to feel safe in order for it to do it right. So on the wheelie walker, what you're going to do, put your feet inside the wheelie walker, all right? And I'm going to have you just kind of get into neutral, nice soft knee bend, glutes, guts are in, blades are down, and you can either push down into, I'd rather have you push down into the handles of your wheelie walker, nice tall spine. Now what you're going to do, if you can, is just take one hand and put it on your belt buckle, okay? And then you're going to pelvic tilt like we talked about, okay? So it's going to be forward, okay, like that, and back. Okay, forward and inhale. So we're tipping the water out the bucket forward. And you can see that arch of my back. And then exhale. And we're tipping it back. And the whole time you're doing this, either hold on with two hands and just do the motion as much as you can, or you can put one hand on, hold on to your wheelie walker, and just guide your pelvis. Okay? Now, if that's cool with you, you can also do it with trekking poles, or you can do it unassisted. Okay? Unassisted is going to be the same way. You stand up, make sure you're near a wall for balance, and you're just going to do the same jam. So you're going to get in, and we're going to go down. So we're going to go tall spine, blades back and down, guts in, knee soft bend, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to inhale and tip forward. Exhale, tip back. Squeeze that butt. Inhale, tip forward. Tall spine. Exhale, tip back. Squeeze that butt. All right? So now you've seen how to do this seated, how to do it on a wheelie walker, how to do it unassisted. I would try, if you can do all three, try to work all three. If you, like I said, if you cannot stand with those hips directly under you on a wheelie walker, you ain't ready to do standing yet. You need to practice doing them seated, okay? And then again, if you're standing and you're like this and you can't get those hips fully underneath you unassisted, you ain't ready to be off of your wheelie walker. So grab that wheelie walker, use it as a safety zone, use it as a mobile balance station, and work your pelvic tilt while your hands are on your walker or at least near your walker. All right? So that's how we roll up in here. If you work on that pelvic tilt, it's going to help you with pelvic balance, gait, spinal strength, cerebellar function, visual function, all kinds of fun stuff. If you like these exercises, please go to our website, themsgym.com. So www.themsgym.com. In there, there's a ton of access to free stuff. So you got a big orange button there. Click on it, free exercises. If you go up to the top and it says free, click on that. Go to more free resources. Click on it. Bam. There's like all of our stuff that we have, all of our free stuff. There's like 700 something videos around, mini courses, exercises, motivation, education on neuroplasticity. It's a big party up in here. So go ahead and do that. I love you guys. You're rocking it. I will see you in the next session.